Welcome back, everybody, community. We are so excited about this journey. I have a really special guest with me today that I've been just really waiting to have in this space. You know, we're all about sharing sacred space in our journey of healing and mental wellness and self-love identification. And so I have Miss Iantha Richardson with me today. Welcome. Welcome to Epic Conversations. Again, it's such a pleasure to have you. It feels good to have you in this space.
Feels good to be here. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Thank you. Thank you. And so just to introduce you to our community, you are an actress. You are a phenomenal dancer.
Thank you.
You are a director, a producer, I would say an artist.
Yes, we'll say that.
An artist in your own right. And I think that's beautiful. I love that. I love that. And a black woman.
And a black woman.
I have that on my notes. I was like, and a black woman. Let's not
That's what you're gonna see first.
Yes. So let's dive into the conversation. You know, we had our pre-talk and it was really interesting to me because I'm like, what are we talking about? You know, like the space of self-love and mental wellness. Everybody's talking about it and everybody's finding their way to what it means for them, what it looks like in their day-to-day life, whether they're a mother or an artist or whoever they are in their title, but in the personhood of who you are. When you hear the word self-love, how does it make you feel? How does it resonate with your life?
Acceptance is the primary word that comes up when I think about self-love at this stage in life. Accepting who I am, where I am, unapologetically. And I think that is the catalyst to being good, being happy, being fulfilled, being filled with joy, is to be able to accept and love with what is truly there. So I think when I think about it, what I feel is at peace. What I feel is ease. What I feel is rest. Those are the things that feel like that come up when it comes to feelings of self-love. And what is needed to get there, I think for me the most is acceptance, because I'm a person who goes for the goal. I'm a dreamer. I'm a thinker. I'm like, what's next? What do I want to do? What do I want to look like? What do I want it to look like? What do I want to create? Sometimes that will send me personally into a tizzy of like, okay, well, I'm not there yet, so I need to do all these things. And so you're overthinking. And that comes in a multitude of fashions in life, not just work and creation, but also like, and what do I want my life to look like family-wise, romantically, friendship-wise, spiritually? How do I want to look physically? All those things. It can send you into a tizzy. But to accept where I am and truly love that, like learn how to not only be okay with it, but to find gratitude and peace in it, that is the ultimate self-love for me.
Yeah, embracing the journey. Yeah, that's not easy for everybody.
Nobody.
You know, you said, you know, being here now, in that, has it always been that way for you? Was it a time where you had to like identify what self-love felt like, what it looked like?
Yeah, I think so. In 2018, I can't tell you the catalyst because I'm not sure the catalyst of this, but I was like, you know what? I want to live a more authentic life. And I was just talking to a friend the other day about how my life looked pre-2018. I was stressed in a way that I didn't even realize I was stressed. But I was losing my hair in the back of my head and it wouldn't grow.
Wow.
My hair right here, I had to use like Rogaine in order to get my edges, and more than my edges, half my hair. I have pictures of it just being gone. Did not know what it was coming from. Like I thought maybe it was like the cankalon from the braids.
Who knows? The shampoo, or food, or something external.
I'm allergic to something. But in 2018, I was like, you know what? I need to be more open. That was just the idea that came to mind. I need to be really serious about my authenticity. And not only my authenticity, but my acceptance of who I am first, so I can be authentic.
Yeah.
So that's when I started going to therapy. That was my first time going into therapy, because I think my mind is always like, how can I get better? but it never came to the fact of how can I get better for me until then. And so, yeah, it was an identification of like something needs to change. I don't feel good. I'm crying often. I don't feel like a good person. And I think being specifically in LA, specifically an actor in LA, you have a tendency to be very hard on yourself because you're in one of the hardest industries there is. My mom always used to be like, there is so much rejection. I want you to know in what you are choosing to pursue. Don't think this is an easy feat. So when you get rejected, it's not you. Like, it's the nature of the beast. Don't internalize that. But I think I internalized that in so many ways. Not only that, but also being a dancer. So body wise, for so long, I needed to find a release, and that came through authenticity, acceptance, talking about things that I've never talked about in my life.
That openness.
And finally being okay with those secrets that you have in your head. Releasing those. My hair grew back. I haven't used Rogaine since, you know.
When you say hair, I talked about this. I created a whole intro coming back to myself because I lost my hair. And it seems like a lot of women between like 2018 to 2019, 2020, you know, the pandemic, all that stress. But I feel like even before the pandemic, there was like a cracking amongst women, artists especially. We're so hard on ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves, and we don't know how to be to stand in gratitude of just what our body is doing, what our mind is doing. You know, the operations of our limbs. It's always go, 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 more, more, more. Let me work, work, work. A friend of mine experienced the same thing. Just lost her hair, and it was devastating. And I thought I was going through it. Like and I'm talking about drop dead gorgeous. Lost all of her hair just out of the blue. And so it's an awakening, and I'm hearing you say the same thing that I often talk about, authenticity, which is why self-love identification is so important, to like really tap into like what you need or what you need to do. And like you said, you heard openness. And it's interesting that we hold so much. We held. I won't say hold because that journey through it's been good. It's been good. The work has been good. But I'm so relieved. Again, these conversations, the healing in them is to let us know we're not alone. Because I'm telling you, so many women lost their hair. I don't know what the brothers was going through. Maybe they were going through something else. I respectfully know a lot of men who are now in therapy and embracing that openness and that authenticity, self-love identification. But this hair loss thing, I'm gonna do some research. I'm really, it's like that. Hearing you say that, like I said, it's very interesting to me.
So interesting. And like I said, I did not even tap into that being a correlation between like my stress, my life at that point, and then what I chose to do in 2018 for myself until like a week ago. Like, I remember being like, I don't know what's going on with my hair. And then all of a sudden it just started growing back once I decided to be like, you know what, I'm going to tell my friend this thing that's bothering me right now. Like,
release.
I'm going to be open about how I feel right now and cry in front of somebody. Something I refused to do before that. Like, you were not getting a tear from me pre-2018.
Is it hard? Was it hard for you to just be vulnerable?
Yeah. Very hard. Probably for a multitude, definitely for a multitude of reasons, but mostly just not wanting to be a burdinous friend. And I think that was my core reason, like the voice of nobody really cares. And not in a bad way, but just like, they'll act like they care, but like the truth of the matter is everybody's going through something.
That's what I was just thinking. Everybody got something going on.
Be
the strong friend.
Yes. So it's not like, not nobody cares, like people are selfish, but everybody has something going on. Keep it pushing was the motivation. But as soon as that light switched to say like, no, if people can open up to you, because I'm that friend who listens, I'm the listening friend, and still am the listening friend, even in my openness. Like, I feel more comfortable listening than speaking, truthfully. But even in that, like, you can give, what you give, you can receive.
You deserve
as well.
it. Yeah, you deserve it. You deserve it in abundance. It's interesting, the idea of not wanting to be a burden, be that person, be that friend, and how some of us, especially women, I would say, it's being that strong friend. It's such an honor, right? But then it reminds me growing up, it's like always being reminded that you ain't got it that bad. Somebody got it worse than you. And so in trauma and suffering, or even just in like mental health, if something is bothering you, it's like this condition of, that's not a big deal. Get over it, sweep it under the rug. And so that's something that I feel like the collective is coming out of. Like, no, actually, this is bothering me. It doesn't matter if it's this small. It's bothering me. It's on my mind. How can we communicate about it? How can I express myself to you? Yeah.
And what a learning curve to know how to express yourself.
That part.
Because that part is crazy.
Yeah. That's still a challenge for me.
I was just
because I'll be ready to fight.
I'm like, the words, like my therapist, shout out to her. She's a holistic therapist, Dr. Shayna. She literally, like, the words she gives me for situations, I'm like, it is not that easy.
Right.
You literally said a sentence that should have been able to come to my mind first, but I'm like, I quit.
Right.
Like my solutions are way more drastic than it needs to be.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. The ability to communicate and communicate well is such a talent and a gift that we just
the ability to communicate and to communicate well. Yeah.
Men and women alike. It's not something that you just have.
Yeah. That's so real. And again, that men and women alike, it's really the reconditioning of how some of us were raised, or the environment. One thing about Hillvolutionary, by definition, it's the rebellion against intergenerational trauma and or mindsets. And so again, as a community, as a collective, I'm like, oh, that's Hillvolutionary. To really sit and pause and say, yeah, no, I got to change that, or I have to flip that mindset a bit. It's so refreshing. It's so refreshing. I love that. I love that. So, in identifying what self-love is for you, you're right, nail on the head, because again, the definition of self-love is one's highest regard for self, right? Spirit, mind, body. We're not talking about anything that endangers self. I want to be really clear about that, because so often I get into these debates about, well, self-love can be masturbation, or it could be getting drunk, or again, highest regard for self, highest frequency for self. And so it's really dope to see the collective conscience just elevating and going and healing, which again is what this is all about. It's about really flipping the narrative, and how we were brought up, or just culture on a whole, because culture is definitely trying to do us in so many ways. And it's not to say that there's not brilliance in culture, but a lot of what's happening in culture is to, I feel like, create stagnancy, and it's not elevating in a lot of ways. So, but in regards to where you are now on your journey, and the pandemic, which I still want to talk about, because I feel like folks just came out of it, and we've got some conversation. But how about PTSD? How about things that we might still need to talk about? How about the strengths that we also gained during the pandemic? Because I see a lot of folks won and are winning through the adversity of the pandemic. I know you went through some things prior to the pandemic, and we had a conversation the other night, and you said something really special, which resonated, and I'd love for you to share when it comes to legacy, like the legacy of your being, your spirit, your mind, your body. You said oftentimes we think legacy comes from the father, right? The paternal. You said your legacy came from your mother, and I just thought that was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Can we talk about that?
Of course.
Yeah, when you said your legacy comes from your mother, where, how, when, who?
First off, I come from a family, like my dad's last name is Richardson, and he has 8 brothers, 2 sisters, so a lot of men in that family. And so my mom being integrated into his family dynamic, was often, she's a Libra, so she's very dainty, very kind, very sweet, but will let people who have bigger voices than her speak up, and she'll often play in the background, not because she has to, but because she knows who she is. So it was often a saying, like, through my dad's siblings, of like, basically my dad was the head honcho. He ran the house. He was the one who made the most money, when that wasn't necessarily true. Where I got, they would often say, like, Iantha, you got your grit, your tenacity, your ability to sustain yourself through life, through all of the loss that I've had, my strength through being a Richardson. But the funny thing is, I have a cousin that's on that side of the family, and she was like, she messaged me about like 2 months ago, and she was like, I think it's really ironic that everybody says it's because you're a Richardson that you're able to handle all these things. She's like, I know that's from your mom, Iantha, and I didn't know her that well, but I'm pretty sure she is the missing link between you, the rest of your siblings, and anybody else who was not able to handle the things that you've been through. And I know that to be a fact. The things that I've inherited from her in terms of her legacy range from monetary inheritance to grace and elegance, the way I move about life, my moral standing, my standards, how I choose to move through life as a woman comes from my mother. And I may not have listened to it when she taught me initially, but I definitely have it in my spirit and in my bones, and I would never trade that for the world.
I love that. I love that. When it comes to your identity and self-love, would you say that your mom was an example of that? Like, was it something that was expressed, or something that you could recall?
I think she was an advocate for me having self-love. There would be a lot of times where I would have to, when I got older, tell her that you need to love yourself. Ask for help. Like, you deserve help. You don't have to do everything anymore. But when it came to me, and my biggest cheerleader, my biggest advocate, my pusher, the person who literally got me to where I am today on hand and knee, that allowance for me to have the love for myself that I have today, and the space held for me to love myself the way I do, was given by her. So I think it was more than just example. It was literal action, of which you can do anything you want to do, and I'll help you because I believe in you. And I'll tell you because I know you can. You need a pep talk? I got you. You need me to come sit with you? I got you. Are you sad you're not answering the phone? I'm driving up to New York, which is where I went to college, and I'm banging on your door.
She was just always there for you.
Yeah, in a way that I've never seen a parent there, which then made me be like, no, my mom's coming with me everywhere, because you can't have that kind of love and support without showing it back, even as a bratty teenager. Like, you have to be able to acknowledge it. So yeah, she showed self-love by just being there, truly, and genuinely believing in me.
Yeah, it makes a difference, like validation, esteem, all of those things when it comes to again, identity and the love that we have to, human, man, woman, have to hold regard for self, because there's so much trying to tear us down, or there's so many, distractions and things. So just that mindset definitely is strengthened by help, which is something that's not easy to take or receive, rather, or even in adolescence when you have parents guiding you through life. Like you said, you might not have known then, but now you see what your mom instilled in you, and your heart posture, how it is a manifestation of self-love in action. In action. I love that.
Yeah. And I think what she also did, when I look back, is create a bubble of love.
A bubble of love.
Like, and not just self-love, but for me to love people no matter how she felt about them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
She created a bubble around, like, when my dad died when I was 11, his side of the family, like, whether or not she liked people, I wouldn't know. She was like, you're still going to see them. We're going to make sure that you see all these people. I've never heard her talk bad about people, if that makes sense, which I think trained my brain to always see the good, not in a naive way, but just not to hold on to the negative parts of people, but just to shift when it doesn't serve me.
Yeah.
And that bubble of love, I think, did so much for my heart posture when it comes to humans, that I don't hold a lot on people. I don't hold the negativity that could come from being hurt or mistreated in whatever way. Like, just sustaining myself in the love that was given to me, and in the love that I give, and the people who I do see are able to reciprocate that without focusing on the negative aspects, because I didn't hear it often.
Yeah.
It was so helpful.
But how do you do that? Because when people are hurt, it's difficult to come out of that. So when you say you don't basically treat people sometimes how they need to be treated, like what practices? Of course, that's your mindset, but how do you really do that in your being, in your mind?
Yeah.
It's such a flow. It's such a spirit.
Yeah.
I'm coming into that, but I have not always been that way.
Yeah. I mean, part of it is reactionary, right? And
right.
So you work on reaction. So I do not want to present like I'm perfect by any means, and just say that I don't think. But I think less than what I could be. I just don't take a lot into consideration. And maybe if we're taking into signs into account, like the flowy nature of an air sign, I can clock something and be like, oh, that's not about me, a lot easier. And I could do it. I notice how I could do it more when my mom was alive versus now, because I had her. Like, I didn't have to worry about everyone else because I had that source of love that I was looking for, if that makes sense. So to create that, if all we're looking for as human beings is to be loved at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so we're reaching for people, friends, whatever those things are, to be able to get that sense of love from those people. That endless source that I had from my mom, even if somebody hurt me over there, it would hurt, no doubt. I would be sad. Maybe I would say something, but it would never carry too far.
Right.
It would take a lot for you to hurt me and for me to really hold on to it.
Yeah.
A whole lot.
Yeah. So the source of love, I like that. The source of love. What would you say for somebody who, didn't have that source of love growing up, or just wasn't in contact with someone who provided that?
I think that it's genuinely hard for me to say, because I can imagine being in those shoes, if that makes sense. Yeah. I know what it's like not to have a dad, but even in those 11 years, I was just looking at home videos because of the project I just worked on. I was like, oh, wow, I was loved. Forgot, because he's been gone longer than he's been here at this point. But what I would say to somebody who has never had that, it feels like anything I would say would be so much easier said than done.
Right, true.
But truly, cultivating that in safe spaces, you have to be very intentional. I can't imagine the amount of intention you have to have with the people you allow around you, and how you allow them to be around you, like the distinction between circles in your lives.
Yes.
Has to be so intentional because it wasn't given to you. So yeah,
you got to create it, cultivate
it in such a niche way, and not with a lot of people. It has to be small, and you got to really make sure somebody is able to give. And even as an adult, I feel like it's even harder, truthfully, because the way a parent gives to me, I've had to come to the realization after my mom passed, I will never get that type of love again because I'm an adult. And so therefore I am required to move a certain way, have a certain amount of like standards for myself, the way that I treat somebody. It is not just a free for all as it is from a loving parent like that. It's not a free for all for anybody, but like what you're allowed to get away with a parent is very different than what you're allowed to get away with as an adult with somebody else.
Exactly.
And so that type of love, it's almost impossible to find at this part, but you can find something that's equivalent. I think it's still possible with intention.
Or the source within. That source within. I love that. So how has that played on your relationships with as an adult woman? How does that influence your relationships and, you know, like what you need and what you stand for?
I think I'm just learning what I need truly in the past few years, because I was always fed it, like it was already given to me. My mom was very thoughtful about how she would orchestrate my life and how she gave things for me, how Iantha needed to be taken in. But now I need to learn that for myself so I can cultivate that world around me. And I think the way that currently I'm interacting with people is very different than the way that I did before. It was very organic. Whoever comes, comes. Whoever stays, stays. It is whatever. But now it's an intention behind it. My needs are very different. I need affirmation. Now I know I need affirmation. So the way I communicate is in saying, I need you to affirm before you criticize, for example. I'm somebody who needs space at times. I need to be able to communicate that I need space at times. And my needs do come first and foremost, but I think it's a balance of what I used to do, which is just giving, and knowing that I'd get it from somewhere else. And now I'm like, oh, I need it to be very reciprocal now because I don't have that source, or I do have that source within me. So I do need space so I can cultivate that for myself more.
Right. But also knowing that if you're pouring, you need to be poured into.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely something I'm sure your mom was an example of. And making sure it's like, no, you need that too. And so often as givers and healers and, you know, the cool, flowy water, you know, those signs, those spirits, we go with the flow, but then you're depleted. And same, I go into like isolation mode. And it's not, you know, no disregard to anyone or no issue, but it's really because I got to replenish, I got to pour back into myself. But that's why those relationships are so important. So there's reciprocation for sure.
And I feel like I've literally always said this. I feel so blessed in hands off. I think it's probably God's discernment in me, but also just God's hand on my life. The friends that I've been able to match with have been so influential in what it looks like to pour into somebody.
I love that.
They flooded me when my mom passed. Like, I was in Atlanta, not even here. They flew and flooded the house to help me do the things that I needed to do by myself with a couple of family members, but like my friends are top tier. But I wonder, because, you know, we talked about this earlier. LA has such a stigma on friendships, right?
Such a stigma.
And so I kind of hate to put it on just like my discernment is amazing. Why my circle is the way it is. So I do genuinely think God just has a hand on my life to be able to see like, oh no, you need to be here. Oh no, you need to stick. Or no, you need to go, whoever those people are. And I've been very, very lucky to have very reciprocal relationships in the things that I need.
Yeah.
Because what I need is very different from what you would need or anybody else. So those people may not work for everyone.
Yeah. Can I share something with you though?
Yes, please.
What I'm hearing is that the love that your mom was an example of, and you said she was your pusher, right? She taught you what you needed by action and what she gave you. I feel like that is who you are in your spirit and your personhood. That's what you put out, and so that's what you receive in your friends. So yes, the discernment, yes, God's hand on your life, knowing who you would need, when and where and why, but also the love that your mom put in you just is you. It's who you are, and you receive that in those people who ride for you. I'm finally seeing that also, and it's a blessing. I feel like I'm finally, because I have some riders, I got some pushers in my life. I haven't had any major loss as far as my parents. It's one thing to be present and to mourn, but it's that's what I'm hearing, is that the love that your mom was an example of is just who you are and what you receive in return. And
in my life, I think platonic relationships with males specifically, because obviously you would think about romantic relationships, and I gravitate towards males for my romantic relationships. I think that has been so healing, to be able to have somebody there to hold me up in my hard times, to be my friend, to hold a masculine space in my life, and also it not have all the complications of romance, or all the ego of romance, or any of those things, for it to just be a genuine, caring, honest, authentic relationship. I think those things are so well serviced. When we spoke about it specifically, I was reading the Celestine Prophecy, and they have this really dope insight that just talks about how when we grow up and we don't get the truth from typically the opposite sex of our parents, we end up gaining that from the people who are coming into our lives romantically. And it reads as an imbalance, like it's never a healthy relationship, in the way that they were saying to heal that was through platonic relationship. And I just found that to be so true and right. Although a fictional story, to be able to heal anything that you're missing is to be able to get it in its most authentic form in front of you, without any manipulation, any side doors that they're trying to get through. Because often in romantic spaces, especially in big cities, you can find people who are trying to get one thing and move in a different way. But when it's platonic, it is what it is. So I think that those relationships are so special and precious and healing.
Yeah. And I think they're most authentic when you have two people who know who they are, and they come as they are. And it's interesting, I have that book on my shelf. I need to read it. But I have found healing from the opposite sex in platonic relationships also. And so I guess it's true. Just to have that purity, and again, just being able to come as you are without any ego or preconceived notion or a plan, right? But just to present as you are in the moment. That's really special. That's special. So in regards to all that love that your mom poured into you, and you being a woman of strength, and knowing who you are and still journeying through in your artistry and your work, what do you plan on doing next? What are you excited about? I mean, we're right now in the midst of such a hard time with this industry, but I know you are a part of this amazing project. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So I'm a part of this project called God is a Black Woman. And it is basically a multimedia piece that centers around 11 women and their stories, their journeys, through different chapters of life and how their divinity intersects with their reality, their authenticity. Um, Chapters of life such as motherhood, creativity, divinity, belonging, um, culture, how we fit into the greater scheme of the diaspora as Black women. All those things are addressed in this film, and we just had a screening at Soho House, which was really lovely. And currently, we're looking to build it out to be a more immersive experience in art galleries, to have curations that coincide with the chapters to make it a more expansive experience, and sister circles to create those communities, or that community that we had within the film in real life. Because I think what is most special about the film is not only like the presentation of what God looks like in a Black woman, the vulnerability and the sharing of that concept in a sister circle that was so special. Like, people didn't even know they were going to talk about the things that they were talking about. And it goes into some really hard and beautiful stories. So we're really excited to hopefully have an immersive experience.
I love that. I love that. When you say sister circle, you just mentioned that, you've got some pushers and some riders, right? And again, that's awesome, especially being in such a big city like this. When it comes to your community and the sisterhood that you've cultivated, has that been a challenge for you, or just something that you've always just been fortunate to have?
I've been very fortunate to gravitate in and out of sisterhood. There have been some relationships that I've held dear for the majority of my life, some that have left. But I have to say, very fortunate in authenticity to have consistently had women in my life, or just people in my life, who have genuinely been able to sit and listen, or hold me up when I'm crying face to the floor, like, or, celebrate with me, to have really, really great moments with me, to celebrate me. Really grateful that I've always in some form or fashion, even if it's just been one person in phases of life, always have had somebody.
That's good. You said celebrate you. That's really good, especially when your sisters can do that. Again, in such a big city full of competition and disregard to authenticity. And, everybody's using that word authenticity. And by definition, we know what it means. But I'm always looking at people's lifestyles to see if they really exhibit like what that looks like. I mean, even in myself, I feel like it's okay to be multi-layered and just have different parts of yourself and not put yourself in a box. And that is authentic. And I feel like that's where you find, your tribe and yourself, and you cultivate what's really for you. Yeah, but that's really a word that everybody using, authentic.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And I think people are trying to figure out how to get to it. Because it's not always easily accessible, especially when you have different goals and motives and drives.
Right.
Especially here, people are trying to get
everything
to the
is
bag.
A presentation. And trying to get to the bag. How can we get to the bag?
Wow.
Where is the bag?
Being authentic.
On the other side of the rainbow.
Okay. Sometimes it's contradictory, all of that. So, I think people are trying to figure it out. And the sacrifice that it takes to be authentic. And sometimes you won't get.
Ooh, you said sacrifice.
Yeah, you'll lose people. You'll lose things.
You lose people. Because,
You'll lose opportunities.
Like authenticity, telling the truth, being who you are, even when it's, might ruffle some feathers or disrupt or be to this or be to that. You definitely lose some people.
I think that is the consistent battle that I have with myself in, there is a world where you can be authentic and not offend people.
Is there? Because somebody gonna feel some type of way.
That's true.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, somebody will feel a type of way. But I do think that there is a vernacular or a way to speak about your own truth at least without attacking or dismissing somebody.
Right.
And so in that realm, finding the words, that's one thing, but completely squelching yourself down is a whole other thing. So I think finding the balance between wanting to not cause confrontation or be in mess, and then also wanting to be seen and heard for who I am, and making that the requirement for myself to be top tier priority is
top tier priority.
Hard.
I love that. Can we say that? Top tier priority.
It's at the top.
That's self-love, highest regard, top tier priority. And if you, whoever gonna stay will stay. Whoever will go. But that energy is so necessary.
Yeah.
Because energy begets energy, and whether somebody can feel it immediately or they just see it from afar, it's going to, manifest and fill the spaces, which is so important. Because it's hard. It's difficult to find the space, and just in your day-to-day life of, whatever the hustle and the bustle, whatever your grind is or pursuit of just being who you are and being comfortable in that, resting in it.
Yeah.
Being in that journey.
Yeah.
With the project and everything, one thing that I thought, besides the vulnerability, I thought to myself, watching it, I was like, everybody's searching for healing nowadays. Yeah. Most people, you're right. Because there are some people still turn, and you can be healed and turn. Listen, you can still be graceful and turn. You can be all of who you are. Because I'm not perfect, and I don't want nobody to think that I'm just out here like, not at all. Please believe it. That is not who I am at all. You're gonna get some layers over here. But what I've observed and just really noticed, and I guess it's really the spaces that I'm putting myself in and what I'm discerning and what I'm seeing. Everybody wants, I feel like a lot of people want to heal.
Yes.
Or realize that they do. And again, no matter what status they're at, I feel like people are just looking for connection.
Yes, that is a core human need. Connection, above all things, for sure, I think is a core. I think people are realizing that they need connection.
Needing connection, yeah.
After 2020, the isolation that hit everyone, they were like, "Ooh, I cannot be alone. This is not okay." Whether they move back home to where their community and families are, or they started to cultivate a better community for themselves.
Yeah.
I think that is something that was inherently learned by everyone across the globe, honestly.
Yeah, the loss and just the uncertainty of life, I feel, put folks at a space of, again, searching for the connection, identifying what connection looks like and what you need, and then also being okay with being like, yeah, that's not working for me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of men and women are really just like, no,
absolutely,
I'm good. And I think that's okay too, to now be more aware of what you need and what you don't need, what you're going to stand for, what your yes is, what your no is, the type of woman that you are, the type of man that you are, the type of woman that you need, the type of man that you need. All of this space, again, is, I feel like, collectively is healing.
Yeah, I agree. I think healing, the thing about it, you said something earlier just about self-love being a bit of a monetization in society currently.
No, it is. They get in the bag.
And
I'm a self-love advocate.
Yeah, literally. But I also feel that for healing in a lot of ways too. The word healing, so many people use it and quantify it and sell it in capsules and so many different ways, all turning back to a money source. So many people want to do it, but they don't actually know how to do it. But I think overall, it's good that the word is circulating. I think overall, it's good that the energy is circulating, because at the end of the day, somebody's going to catch it who wasn't going to do it in the first place.
Right.
And that is the goal.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. But the authenticity is being, really, for me, is the most important thing. And presenting like who you are, even if you don't know. I've had a few conversations and women are like, again, your conversation is different and how you report into, in your childhood. And I think it's so beautiful to see this and then that, right? Because the result of how you were raised and what was poured into you can still be achieved, right? That source of love that's within you, it can still be achieved in that authenticity at that crossroad of what we believe in here is the mental health and the self-love. Like that crossroad is how you find the source and again the self-love identification and what you need, how you gonna navigate the life, how we navigate this life. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but it's so refreshing to get to a point to where you find the source of love that you need.
Yeah.
Because the love is a common connection. Healing is a common connection. Connection is a common connection. And people just, coming into self, regardless of the upbringing, because we all have these paths that we are on and decisions that have to be made and loss and grief. Yeah, the source that your mom left you. And is it okay if I call it that? Because I feel like it's a source that she left within you, and I think that's so special. How do you feel like you'll pour that into your children? Do you want to? I should ask first. Do you want to have children?
Yes.
Yeah.
But to answer that, when I think about having children, the most exciting part about it, whenever the time comes, which hopefully I'm blessed to have them, is to be able to give that.
Yeah.
Because I know what it feels like, and I am excited to have this wealth within me, but not only for my own kids. I'm very excited for my own kids, but I told you I used to be a teacher, and I think one of my missions in life is to be able to give back to kids the love that I have in me, which is why I want to open a school one day, which is why I do teach, or I give back to kids, or I have mentorship programs that I'm a part of, because I think it's important to have somebody who has this in me give it back to you, especially someone who looks like me giving it back to kids who look like me.
Exactly.
Because working in some underserved communities that I worked in before, we all want to give love, but to access it takes a lot of work to access it when you didn't have it. And you can see
that's the work.
Yeah.
When you to access it when you didn't have it.
Yes,
yeah.
That is the work.
Yeah.
And so to be in these school systems with, teachers who may not have had it and don't know how to communicate the love that they want to give in the way that they want to give it, to be that person, I am grateful. I think it's part of my mission to be able to give that not only to my kids, but to kids who I work with, because I think they should also know that they got to push her in somebody, whether or not it's your mom or dad, like they should also know they can do whatever they want. I'll help you, whatever that is. Like, I'm grateful to have that softness and also tenacity in me to want to give back to people. And I think that is really important. What my mom left me in legacy, and that is needed.
The legacy of source. I love that. You mentioned softness, and I just have to touch this topic. I know we've gone from here to there and here to there, but it's just, again, I'm just like, you're here in the space. Everything. Let's talk about it all. So, source of love within you from your mom. Now that we are present here, right? It's cool. It's great. We know that self-love is being monetized, and everybody got their own idea. What's your perception of like the soft girl era? How do you feel about that?
I appreciate it. I don't dive too deep into the eras of any like girl boss era, any of them. I'm like,
you are who you are, who you are, who you are,
and that's it. Like if you ask any of my friends, they're like, Iantha is very Iantha, and I've always been a little bit of a like outsider of the bunch. But to say like, what do I feel about soft girl era?
What is when you hear that? Like, yeah, there's definition behind it, but do you identify with?
Not naturally. I think that naturally I identify as like an East Coast girl with a bit of a rugged like like tone. I have a deeper like resonance in my
Yes.
voice, and I'm very much so like an honest person, and I give it in the real, but on the inside I want to be soft.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate the idea behind soft girl era probably more than anything that's out right now, because I need it. And going back to my mom, I got that from her, because she was very, very soft in tone and how she dealt with me. Even if I was rough, she knew how to be like, it's okay, very quickly. Even if I was like just the opposite of that, and I need that. Like, when you talk about what you need, I need that. So to try to find that in myself has been something that I've been working on, even when it comes to how I speak. Like, to be candid, this entire conversation, I'm like, how can you relax in your tone and speak slower? I think that's really important. And when I hear friends who speak slower, I'm like, ooh, I want to take that from you, because I think there's a lot to gain from just speaking slower. I think there is so much to gain from stillness, and to be able to consistently tap into that feels like my version of soft girl era. To tap into the stillness that's in me, to not have to rush through things, and to not have to be anything, but let things hit me and let them come out as they may, in the most authentic way possible. And typically, when I'm being authentic and vulnerable and my heart is showing, that resonates as soft. When I'm trying to get it out, that's when the heart comes out. So the soft girl era, I appreciate it, because what it hits for me is layers that I want to unpack more.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Now that you're saying that, I actually can identify it with it a bit more for myself, because I am much like yourself, soft on the inside, but the outside sensitive. Yes, like I wear my heart on my sleeve, but it's very like, what's up?
Right.
Like, yeah, what's up? What's good? Yeah. And so again, the way you just articulated how you perceive it, I'm like, okay, I can dive into that a little bit more for myself. I think some of us don't even know what soft is.
My therapist is a holistic therapist, which I think I said before, but your nervous system is what she talks about often. And like, as Black and brown people, we were set up with 4 nervous systems. And what it looks like to calm your nervous system is something that we work on and talk about often, or have worked on and talked about often. And I think that resonates as soft to me, because that feels in my body as softer. It's not anxiety, it's not like pressure, it's relaxed and flowing. So when I can get my body to a regulated nervous system state, that to me is a soft girl era, because it's literally as soft as I can get.
Yeah.
And I think that's the goal,
For sure. As we, wrap the conversation, again, it's really refreshing that you are a woman of love, and that you had like an abundance of love growing up. When it comes to healing, though, what have you like healed through? Has there been anything that you found yourself like healing through? You lost your mother, you were able to identify the source that she poured into you, but is there anything that like you had to heal through? Whether it's changing a mindset, changing a way of life, a way of thinking.
Yeah, I think the need to be good and right and perfect. I've been dealing with this idea of like the good girl complex, and what it looks like to be the good girl in anybody's eyes. And I think I really have had, a perfectionist complex, but more so a good girl complex the majority of my life. And letting that lay, and seeing what parts of me don't fit with that narrative that I've created for myself, which parts do, and letting myself just be that and not shaming myself for that has been a really big thing. Other people's perceptions of me and being misunderstood is a huge trigger. I hate feeling misunderstood, even if it's something that I've created in my own mind. And so I think that goes along with the idea of like, am I being good enough? Am I doing it right? Healing through that is still my life's journey, but it has been what I've been healing through this entire time. And I think those things come off the backs of like all the loss that I've had in my life, whether it be my dad, my mom, my brother, my grandfather, all these people, like those things I've been wanting to be good for them. I've been wanting to be my dad's perfect girl since 11. I've been wanting to be my B-daddy's perfect girl since 9, wanted to be my brother's perfect sister since he passed 5 years ago. But at some point I realized I need to lay that down and just be me because they would have loved me regardless.
Exactly.
And that is a mindset that I'm like, oh no, they would have still loved you, even if you weren't this version. So yeah,
I love that. I love that. And so as we close, I always have an offering for my guests. Really? And I ask the question again at the end of our conversation. Now, having an understanding of what Healvolutionary is, what a Healvolutionary is, someone embarking on a journey of healing and self-love, rebelling against intergenerational conditions and mindsets. Would you consider yourself to be a Healvolutionary?
I would. Yes. Now that I know, yes. I am a Healvolutionary.
A wonderful journey 4. I'm so happy just again to have you in this space. This is a gift for you. Some merch for you to wear and sport as you continue to embark on your journey as a Healvolutionary, and discovering life, love, the things that you need and don't need. Again, thank you for being here. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is absolutely lovely.
Tune in for the next one.
Your soul is so beautiful.
Thank you.